Just picked up last hour's guest page. My apologies, and nice to have you on the air.
That's okay.
How are things in
I'm
your...
not offended.
You know, I was looking through your curriculum vitae, and obviously people know you from the Trading Spaces show on TLC. I didn't realize you had as much Broadway experience as you've had. That's really impressive.
Yeah, that's my whole background is musical theater.
No kidding.
That's a great place too. I don't do just musical theater.
Yeah, but how did the Trading Spaces thing come along? Because it sounds like that's a complete shifting of directions for you.
It was an absolute departure for me,
Yeah.
and it was. I mean, the short answer is I auditioned for it. I had a friend who knew that the production company was looking for a new host for the show. I didn't actually host the very first season of the show. I was brought in for the second season. They replaced the host, and she knew about it, and she just kept pushing me, and I remember she called screaming into my answering machine. You know, there's this show, and it's called Trading Spaces, and oh my God, they're looking for a new host, and you're perfect for it. You're perfect for it. And I called her back, and I was like, I've never done TV, I've never hosted anything, and I don't have a background in interior design. So how am I perfect for this show?
Because it's your sparkling personality. It's the reason why, right there.
She pushed and pushed and pushed. Getting the audition was actually the hardest part because my resume doesn't reflect any television, or didn't. And, you know, I'd been in the business for 17 years, but I'd never done any television.
Was it tough to get through the door?
I'd done a couple commercials. But...
Was it tough, though, to get through the door to see the appropriate people? And I can't help think it was a huge cattle call with lots of people coming out and saying, hey, I can do that.
Well, that too. But by the stage that I was in, I know for a fact that they saw at least 50 women who auditioned with Ty Pennington. They brought him in to help with the auditions. Mm-hmm. Just like we have some new faces that joined Trading Spaces this season, and I was there with them, auditioning them as well, which was fun. It wasn't up to me. I just, I participated in their audition to help them audition for the show. And Ty was there for me. And, in fact, they had initially wanted to choose me, but the head of TLC at the time didn't want to give me the job because I didn't have any television experience. And so they had a whole second round of auditions, another 50 women.
Good Lord.
They just kept refusing to hire anybody else, and they just wore her down. So basically, I wore them down to get the audition, and then then she got worn down to give me the job. It was just a whole series of crazy. Now,
you said basically your background is theater of different types, musical and otherwise, and now you're currently occupied with Trading Spaces. But do you want to go back and do other Broadway type shows, or is that in the cards for you?
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Interesting.
I want to do it all, darling. I did do one scripted pilot, a 30-minute, sitcom that never got picked up. Mm-hmm. I'd love to do scripted television still. I'd love to go back to theater. I'd love to keep hosting. I'd love to keep hosting Trading Spaces. I hope it has a second season. I'd love to continue guest hosting on other morning shows and things like that. Yeah. I love all of that, and I've been very fortunate that I really haven't had to choose yet. I mean, I can't necessarily do all of it at the same time, but I've been able to ebb and flow in and out of all those different genres of entertainment.
What's the lead time on Trading Spaces?
I never knew how much I would love hosting until I did it.
Yeah. What's the lead time on the production aspect of Trading Spaces? How far in advance do you and the crew have to work on something like that?
I don't know what it would have to be in this particular instance. We've been finished with the show since October.
Yeah.
And they're just now airing. And I think they took the time to edit them because they had the time to edit them. When we used to do it, I mean, we could do an episode and it'd be on the air 3 weeks later.
Wow.
But we were shooting year-round. We never stopped. We were doing, 60, 75 episodes a season. This was only 8 episodes. And I think, when they announced Trading Spaces and when we went into production, they actually still had programming scheduled for other shows. Like Trading Spaces couldn't air until there was free time in the schedule.
I can't imagine.
And I think they were timing it out too for like spring. This is kind of the season when people start doing more DIY around the house, so it's nice that it times out that way as well.
For those who have not seen Trading Spaces on TLC, the basic concept is you take two groups of people and you basically put them in the other person's house and let them decorate the place. So the question...
Well, and it's specifically neighbors. You have to be within a 2-minute walk of each other.
So have you has a situation arisen where, I mean, let's face it, I got a son whose bedroom is painted orange. Now, that's just because what he wanted, and we didn't care. But that's the sort of thing that somebody walks in the house and go, ooh, that's awful. Have you ever run into a situation where it's been so bad with one family or another that it was terrible? They just wanted to switch everything back the way it was.
Yeah, we've definitely had episodes where they hated it. There are some pretty infamous episodes of people who watch the show will very much remember the fireplace episode where Pam became Crying Pam, and she was forever known as Crying Pam. We definitely have that, and I have people tell me a lot. People who watch the show say, I love it when they hate it. And that's such a sick thing to say. But I think one of the reasons why it's true is because it's so rare. Most of the time we see tears of joy. But yes, there are times when people don't like it. But it's true, it's neighbors who trade houses, but there's other tentpole elements to our format that are extremely important. One, it has to be done in 2 days. Two, it has to fit within the budget, which this season we've actually raised the budget. It's $2,000 per room as opposed to $1,000, but still a very modest budget that you have to be extremely creative to make a big change for so little money. And the other very important tenement of the show is that you can have no say in what happens in your own home while you're working on your neighbor's home and room. So the point of that, and a big mission of Trading Spaces that might be unlike the shows that came after us, is that we try to push people outside their comfort zones. We give them things they would not do on their own. We give them things that might be a little crazy. And sometimes it's super crazy, like one of our designers is known for just doing total wackadoo, nutso ideas that frankly look beautiful. They always look amazing, but sometimes like they're just nuts, like, turkey feathers glued to the wall. It looks like you were sleeping inside a pillow. I actually thought it was really, really neat, but most people probably wouldn't want that, or silk flowers in the bathroom was another really famous one. It looked insanely beautiful, and for the record, the homeowners actually did love it when they returned home. They actually loved it and kept it for a long time. But, the idea is to push people outside their comfort zone, to push the boundaries, to do things that are different and unique and don't look like everything else. Even on our show alone, you will never see a room that looks like any other room. For starters, we have all these different designers, all of whom have radically different approaches and aesthetics and tastes. And that's the neat thing about being a fan of the show. You also then have your favorite. You'd be like, I would never let them in my house, or I would only want so-and-so in my house. Like, that's part of the joy of watching the show, that you know the designers' personalities and aesthetics and approaches. And, one man's trash is another man's treasure, because Hildy is known as being like the one that nobody would want. And I would totally let her do my room.
I got you.
I'd risk it. I'd risk it just for the fun of it.
I want people to look for Trading Spaces. It's on TLC. The host is Paige Davis. Paige, thank you so much for the time. It was great talking to you.
Oh, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Everybody watch.